And good morning to you, St. Lucia, those of you on island and in the diaspora. It is Monday, 16th August, 2021. I am Lucia Joseph, and we're in the Information Command Center. And as we know, St. Lucia is experiencing another wave of COVID-19. We'll be getting into that shortly. Let me just welcome Homer DeMarc, who's with me at the table on this Monday. Homer, it's very good to see you.
Good morning.
So bright and early.
Yes, it's nice to be here bright and early this morning. And you know, we're coming from a very eventful weekend, quite a few things to discuss this morning. But how are you doing this morning?
Doing mighty fine this morning. There's always need to have, inspiration around you. And so before coming on air, I think I gave everyone an earful of my new favorite song. I've given everyone an earful of that. I will not dare do that live. Wouldn't
something to see, though.
I wouldn't want to go there. But Homer, we, as you indicated, very, very eventful weekend. And while I draw on some of my favorite songs, for comfort, our brothers and sisters up in Haiti, they have gone through another devastating occurrence with an earthquake at 7.2 in magnitude. And immediately when this happened on the weekend, my thoughts back to 2010. Yes. When you had that 7.0 earthquake where we had in the region of 250,000 people dying. That is more than St. Lucia's population,
yes,
if you have to place that into context. And so that just immediately sunk. And I'm like, how much more can our brothers and sisters up in Haiti endure? And we also have a tropical depression, Grace, which is heading up that way as well. And they're expecting that the rains from Grace will be really triggering mudslides, landslides, flood. We're looking at rains perhaps in 12 inches of rain for up that side. So let's get into a little bit of the details of what the earthquake. So there is a state of emergency after that earthquake struck on Saturday. The numbers are not in terms of the death toll, at least for now. What we do know now is that we're in the region of 1,297 people who have died as a result.
That's right.
With some 5,700 injured. 700
injured. In addition to that, there's, as you can expect, a lot of infrastructural damage as well. I saw that some 2,868 homes were completely destroyed and another 5,410 damaged. And you can imagine with the state that Haiti is in currently, having lost that just the rehabilitation will be something that is a lot more difficult for them. But I saw some of the photos and it was like, it brought me close to tears because I can't imagine that some 11 years ago you go through something similar, seeing your country lose so many lives and having to go through that again. Things that you always expect with earthquakes and you're seeing happening in Haiti as well. I believe Saturday morning around 8:30 they had another earthquake with the was 5.8.
So those aftershocks.
So you can imagine that it might be very unsettling for them, people who have lost their homes, people whose family has lost lives. It's something that I can't even imagine how they're beginning to cope with.
I don't know if Roger can up some of those photos there, as just so that we can share with the wider audience of what Haiti, what this earthquake, the damage that it has done. And certainly back in 2010, in the aftermath of 2010, we did have a lot of pledges. The global community did really, and there's some debt forgiveness that came into play. But to this day, we still have large swaths of people who are still living in tents.
Still trying to recuperate.
Still trying to recover from the 2010. I think so that, when I watch some of the residents speak to the international media, some of them were saying that in a way, while this tragedy has occurred, there was a saving grace because like this earthquake struck really in more remote part of the country, and as the reason didn't necessarily have all of the building structures and so forth. So, which is why they say they're thankful that the death toll at this time remains very low and nowhere near what it was in 2010.
In 2010, right? Because I believe in 2010, the quake struck just 15 miles outside of the capital.
Port-au-Prince.
It was some 78 miles. So you're very right in saying that, as difficult as it is, as hard as it is, there's
always a saving grace, a silver
always
lining, always something there.
Just thinking about that every day, everything that happens in this timing of COVID-19 as well, and how that will affect, their numbers in terms of the pandemic.
And the Haiti has been struggling with COVID-19. Definitely, again, with some international support, they've been able, vaccines, while it is slow in our part of the region, it is even slower for Haiti in terms of them being able to access, and which is why we have to say, well, hopefully that COVAX is coming into play. Under COVAX, they've received the shipment already, and so we're hoping that that can continue to be fast. Just to inform you that Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre on the weekend also sent out condolences to the people of Haiti and signaled the commitment of the government of St. Lucia, other Caribbean countries, to be able to provide whatever support St. Lucia can in the aftermath of this earthquake.
In addition to that, I've seen a number of sites be put up as well in terms of pledges. So I can imagine that relief efforts will be well on the way, hopefully, for the people of Haiti as well.
And for us here in St. Lucia, what we do is once those have been able to determine that they're legitimate, because that's important as well.
Very important.
And I'm
indeed.
certain that from our end, because we do have the St. Lucia Red Cross that works along, perhaps later on in the day, we get some information from the National Emergency Management Organization on how St. Lucians can be
assist.
part of that regional movement and global movement to assist Haiti, because not too long from now, later in the day, I'm certain we'll be hearing more about how we can do whatever little that we can so that we can assist our brothers and sisters up in Haiti. Now, while they were experiencing that there on the weekend, because we had rains associated with some weather systems, the Tropical Storm Grace, now it's now Tropical Depression Grace.
Thankfully.
And while we were not directly in the path of Grace, but we did get some remnants of the rain and so forth. And what we experienced, rain throughout Saturday.
Quite a bit of rain.
And then, of course, over in Bocage, we saw
that land slippage.
on widely circulated on social media, that land slippage, the earth movement, and that structure. This sort of home that I think was being used as a business establishment, like a corner shop sort of thing.
Thankfully, there was no loss of life.
Absolutely. And it was scary because there's some video, or if someone is filming and actually seeing it second by second as the building was sinking. And so that was very scary. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre, it is within his constituency. He was on hand at the weekend, and he, along with Honorable Stephenson King, Minister for Infrastructure, they went and had a good look there to see, along with the team from the Ministry of Infrastructure, to see how best they can stabilize the situation and provide any assistance from that. So our rain events are not completely over, because we are in the Atlantic hurricane season, Homer.
Yes.
So what does the weather look like for us today?
The weather is, hopefully we're not going to get too much rain. According to the weather report, winds will be blowing from the east near hour or 30 kilometers per hour. We are expecting fair skies and hazy at times, becoming cloudy with a few showers. So, when it comes to weather, it's unexpected. So if you do have an umbrella, I would suggest, just holding it in your bag, because we are expecting a few showers today. In terms of seas, we see tides at the Castries Harbour. I'm going to be high at 11:08 a.m. this morning and low at 3:07 this afternoon. Tides for the Viv high at 12:15 p.m. and low at 4:34 p.m., as well as the seas being slight to moderate daily, sir, with waves 3 to 5 feet or 0.9 to 1.5 meters today.
And talking about the tropics, we do have a tropical wave, and that's located over the central tropical Atlantic, and it's moving westward at about 14 miles per hour. And the wave is expected to get to the islands, get to us by Tuesday night, that is tomorrow. Tropical wave number 2, located over the eastern tropical Atlantic, is also moving westward at about another 14 miles per hour. So at 5, the tropical depression Grace moving up to the north, and it's going to be in the region of the east of Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic. Maximum sustained winds are near 35 miles per hour with higher gusts, and it's continuing to move west at about 15 miles per hour. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be taking a closer look at St. Lucia's COVID-19 situation.
The virus ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together. Often use hand sanitizer. Better yet, use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier together, we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshake, standing around. No, no.
Advice is you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
We can win this war. Get vaccinated. We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. We know what to do. Get vaccinated. COVID-19 we won't lose to you. Oh no. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Time for a brand new day. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. To live and work and play. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. The health experts we trust. Take 2 doses. Take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Let's take our life back with a safe and effective AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. The mobile vaccination drive is coming to you. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages for more information. Let's take our life back. Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness and this station.
And welcome back to the Information Command Center. I'm Lucia Joseph on this Monday morning along with Homer DeMarc. So in St. Lucia's COVID-19 situation, we recorded 79 new cases there on the weekend. And the ministry received the confirmation of the cases from the Ezra Long lab. And the results were taken from a batch of 364 samples. Those samples were taken between August 13, the Friday, and Saturday, August 14. They were processed on the 14th. And
we also saw the recovery, I think, of 23 individuals, bringing the number of active cases to 723.
And it is a high number.
Quite a high number for us, yes.
For us, and one of the concerns of the officials is that our health system does not be overwhelmed and overrun by COVID-19 and patients. And so, Minister for Health and Elderly Affairs, Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, at the cabinet meeting for Monday today, there will be discussions focusing on COVID-19, what the national response is, some of the measures that may need to be implemented, new measures to sort of complement what already is in existence. We know that last Friday, the 13th of August, the new amended protocols came into place. And so the curfew had been revised, and it's now at 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. as opposed to the 11 p.m. So, you know, that little 2-hour difference, they don't necessarily, I think St. Lucians have pretty much gotten accustomed to being able to adjust themselves, as, you know, to be able to play their part in what the national fight is against COVID-19. But Minister Moses Jean-Baptiste has indicated that urgent and new actions to manage the surge of COVID-19 cases here will be undertaken by the government. And his assurance really came after CARFA confirmed 6 new cases of the variants of concern in St. Lucia.
Yes.
So, you know, we've had that dominant variant, which is the British variant or the Alpha variant. Now we've been told that we have the Delta variant. And so the minister has indicated that measures will be stepped up in order for us to be able to deal with this. So 2 of the cases are visitors from the United States. 3 of the 4 local cases are from the south of the island.
Yes.
And only 1 of the 6 cases is a fully vaccinated individual, but they're all in stable condition. Let's hear more from Minister Moses Jean-Baptiste, Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, on this.
The presence of the Delta variant in St. Lucia is of great concern to the government and the health authorities here in St. Lucia. The Delta variant is known to be more contagious with a much higher viral load, up to 80% more transmissible than the regular strain. It is also known to affect a younger population without underlying health conditions. It causes more severe illness and hospitalization and deaths. Typically, a small percentage of vaccinated people may get COVID-19, but they are either asymptomatic or have very mild symptoms if they contract the Delta variant. I am advised that unvaccinated people remain of greatest concern due to their reduced capacity to fight this virus. The effects are more severe.
You know, and also, Lisa, to address one of the things that Honorable Jean-Baptiste made clear, given the confirmation of the Delta variant in country, was that it is even more important that I think that everybody should know by now that it is more important to follow all recommended healthcare measures taken to protect ourselves, to protect our health and our well-being as well. Encourage the public to get vaccinated at this soon as. And we also have a clip of him, speaking more to that.
The vaccines are available free of charge on a daily basis. Although we do not mandate vaccination, we encourage the public to follow the science and get the vaccine to keep themselves and families safe. The government of St. Lucia is committed to ensuring that all measures to strengthen the present system are in place. We have requested and received the vaccination plan to increase the uptake of the vaccine in communities. We are in the process of increasing the testing capacity.
Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste there, and to let you know that We are expecting, and sometimes these things can change a little bit given what the logistics are.
True.
But we are expecting to have a shipment of the Pfizer vaccine, which is St. Lucia will be getting that along with some other CARICOM countries from the United States, and that is supposed to be happening on Tuesday, tomorrow, 17th August. But again, with the logistics, things can change. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It may happen a little later down the week, given what shipment and so forth, and again, the impact of COVID-19. But the vaccination aspect, really, really important. And a little later on, we'll be telling you where you can go and access the vaccination sites for today. And we'll talk about the vaccination numbers in just a little bit. We want to go across to our Zoom platform, however, because while we are, Homer, COVID-19 is, something it can be the dominant conversation, and sometimes we forget about all of the other things that are taking place while COVID-19, is just badgering us.
The shade.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's the month of August.
And when you hear August, there's one thing that comes to mind when it comes to our cultural activities. It's the La Rose Festival.
La Rose, vive La Rose.
And I realized that you made an effort to spot the pinks, Lisa.
Yes,
you spotted the pinks and the white.
With all of those colors, I snuck in a bit of the margarita because I'm a Margaret girl.
I think I am too, If you're going based on the birthdays, I'm definitely a La Marguerite. But just since you are so openly a Margaret girl, I'll be representing La Rose this today.
But we all embracing, we can embrace each other,
True.
Reaching across that aisle.
Very true.
All right, La Rose. I see you.
See what I did there.
I see you. So we are... have Ms. Junior Frederick of the Cultural Development Foundation online. Good morning, Junior. Are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Vive la Rose, Junior.
Vive la Rose.
Good morning. Can you just give me a minute? I just have to power up. Just 1 minute.
Sure, no problem.
We understand how it is. I always give jokes when I say that COVID-19 has given us the opportunity for us to be able to fast track the use of our technology, but it also gives us the pressure because we use it so much that the devices, sometimes we forget that the devices need to stay alive. We need to give it a little juice
we
now and then.
We need to give them a little time.
So we forget sometimes. But more traditionally, at this time, we would have been hearing about the serenades taking place.
Yes.
We would have had, a grand
calendar of activities. Yes.
And you would have seen a festivity down perhaps at the Derek Walters Square or in some other community.
Maybe a La Rose séance.
Yes, around the island. But now, because of COVID, we don't have that. And so the CDF, as innovative as it is, and we've seen the innovation of the CDF since COVID-19 has come upon us, and they have now been able to pivot and try and celebrate La Rose, through new means. And so we will have Junior Frederick talk to us about that, and we're supposed to hear from one of the Shotwells.
That would be nice.
Yeah, so
that would be
hopefully, let's see how that works out. If we've been able to hear from her.
Lisa, coming from a small community, I remember asking my grandmother.
What small community is that?
Canaries. From Canaries. Canaries.
Canaries.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember speaking to my grandmother about, the La Rose Festival and the La Marguerite Festival, and she would say to me, she would relay the stories to, the rivalry. Now it's very lighthearted, and you would say I'm a La Marguerite girl. It was very, very serious in a time, and she would relay that there were people who would literally go years without speaking to each other just because La Rose, and one was a La Marguerite, and the little peacock you usually hear within the songs. It was a real thing in her time that, there really were people who would probably be sweeping, their front yard and singing those songs, J'étais Power, for the La Marguerite. And it's interesting for me every time the Lawas Festival and the La Marguerite Festival comes around to just listen to the songs and to just get, you know, the little peacock here and there. And I feel like it's actually given the flowers a personality.
Yes.
When you look at the Lawas, it's a little more an affair, it's a little louder, but the Margaret is more reserved and, in my opinion, a little more regal.
Yeah. Is Junior with us now, Roger?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful. See, Junior, we were just having some good old fun there, talking about, you know, the
Norma needs to be
backstory,
careful
if you
of
will,
some of those
to
things
the
she's
La
saying.
Wars and the La Marguerite, the flower festivals. But talk to us from the CDF points of view, having to stage, if you will, or not stage, or finding a different way to celebrate the La Wars or the flower festivals on a whole for this year.
Well, the last time we staged a festival was in 2019, and I guess at that point we didn't realize that that would be the last time that we would have a live event. And 2021, because of COVID-19, we could not stage the festival in the normal manner. Normally, we would have Guanseyas with all of the groups. I mean, if you could recall, the Guanseyas at Rodney Bay, the Saturday night, and then we would probably go into advertising all the little CSs in the communities amongst the groups, and it would build up to that point where on the 30th of August, we'd have a grand church service, and the groups would pick the community where they will have this church service. And following that, we'll have this feast where they'll all perform and then go back into their communities. Well, unfortunately, we were unable to do that, and this is coming to the second year. So to mitigate against that, and if you've noticed, CDF has been doing a lot of what I call pioneer work. We produced an entire virtual program in 2020, and that is ongoing, and that is our first that we're moving in that direction. And so because of that, we encouraged the groups in 2020 to scale down and sort of amalgamate. So Labrie had a church service, and they were joined by certain groups within the South. Moshi had their church service, but it was not on the grand scale that everybody expected. And of course, the celebrations were done, but not on the grand scale. And also what we did, we collaborated with the Labrie Credit Union in producing a documentary, very short documentary, on untold stories about the festival. And we gave the same treatment to La Marguerite so that then persons can have this visibility of the festival. And as you know, the internet and the online media, you have this wide reach, and you know that it's online and people can go back to see it and the views can grow. So that is the direction that we have been going. And this year, we have the same approach to the same virtual hours, where we will highlight the groups, something significant about each of them, and do these short documentaries. Again, we're collaborating with Calabash TV, and we're collaborating with the groups and putting on these short documentaries that will probably air on television, Instagram, YouTube, and on Facebook. Again, highlighting things that are specific to each group. And a lot of people don't know that Olio has a special ritual that they do on the feast before they leave to attend the church service. They form a procession throughout the community, and they go to the house of the king and they sing, and it's a ritual of call and response, and then he emerges, and they do the same thing with the queen, and this procession leads on through the community. So we would like to capture some of those things and some of the things that are unique and particular about each Lawas group. And I'll let Oshun describe the next activity, virtual activity that we plan to do with all of the groups, because it is really the brainchild of the Monroe Lawas group.
Thank you so much there for that. So we're looking forward to hearing from Oshun. I know that she has a single out and looking forward to that. Love her voice.
Quite a powerful voice.
Very, very powerful voice. So Drina, let me thank you so much for letting us in, and we're looking forward to being able to see the productions come on. And of course, we here at NTN will be airing those once they've been packaged, completed, and handed over. So we'll be happy to share that with the wider St. Lucia as well. Thank you so much, Drinia, for the work that you do at the CDF as well. And we're looking forward to speaking with Oshun very shortly.
And you know, Lisa, it's a great opportunity that Junior is speaking about documentation. It's an opportunity for further documentation to pass down to the younger generations, because the schools have been integral in keeping the Lawas and La Marguerite Festival alive. And one of the things that, you know, with COVID-19 we're seeing is that too may have to be scaled down.
And that is quite unfortunate. But as we say, being able to document and keeping things for posterity, that is a very, very critical thing. And of course, I'm really what the CDF has been able to do by way of going a step further and looking at the history surrounding the flower festivals, which allows for all of us to get a better understanding of what it all means. And so you're not just seeing someone dressed up in a princess outfit, for example, or as a magistrate and so forth, but what is the real meaning behind all of that, and the songs. And of course, you know, these songs hold significance to our way of life. And so I'm looking forward to being able to hear the backstories concerning our flower festivals. We'll take a quick break. We'll try to establish the link with Oshun, and we'll be right back.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join revolution.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food revolution.
Do you know we can limit the spread of the COVID-19 virus? The Ministry of Health is your partner in achieving this solution. Introducing the Amber Wristwatch. The Amber Wristwatch is designed for monitoring daily movements while in quarantine. It provides an accurate location and a precise heart rate. The device is also waterproof and can be worn during all daily functions, like washing the dishes or taking a shower. It's worn like a typical timepiece. The Ministry of Health can now better monitor people in home quarantine and receive alerts of those who do not stay in the confines of their home. A 14-day rental of the Amber Wristwatch is just $75 US. Let us stop the breaches of home quarantine.
And thank you so much for staying with us on this Monday morning. I'm Mr. Joseph alongside Herman Mark. And before we went to break, we were discussing Lawas. Vive Lawas! And we were speaking to Junior Frederick about the Cultural Development Foundation, the CDF, and all the work that they've been doing, despite COVID-19, to get us to really enjoy our cultural festivities. And so she was filling us in on how they're planning to be able to get something grand for the Lawas Festival within this month of August. We now have online with us one of our powerful female vocalists on island, and we know her best as Oshun. I'm told that her name is Yanet. So good morning to you.
I'm with you guys. Vive la Rose.
Vive
Vive
la
la
Rose.
Rose all the time. Good morning to you. And
Good
you're all
morning to
decked
you
out
guys.
there.
Yes, she ensured that she had her little rose in her hand and everything.
So that means we're getting a little something from you there this morning. But I need to know all about your involvement in Laos. You are with the Monrepo Laos group, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us how you got interested and involved in that.
I think my favorite aspect of St. Lucia music is folk music. I believe it has potential to evolve and grow. The Monrepo Laos group was stagnant for about 6 years after the passing of our former president, our founder, our founder, Mr. Alson. And I think it's 2018, the group got revamped. And since then, I've been actively involved, trying my best to get it on social media platforms to kind of boost awareness. And then there's COVID, so we have to do it slightly different. I think in Laos, what calls me the most is the taboo.
Nice.
Just maybe that.
Nice.
Because the drum is really the sort of heartbeat and spirit of it all.
And we hear, Oshun, that with the Monrepo Laos group, that you'll have a special activity plan for the Laos Festival. You mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yes, so we're trying to do a virtual Laos concert. We invited at least, due to COVID protocols, we have to limit our numbers. So we invited at least one musician or the shuttle from each of the groups. And in partnership with Calabash TV, they will be doing the filming of that activity for us. And so everybody could be part of that virtual show. We have decided to name it Green Days by the River, trying to get a natural vibe, natural energy, you know? Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So, Oshun, our time is going to run out, but I want to ask if you can give us, a little energy here this morning and give us a sample of one of your songs. Give us the Laos.
Vive la Rose!
Vive la Rose!
Yo di yon ni compétition la rose, c'est qui laisse qui kay pour prize la. Yo di yon ni compétition la rose, c'est qui laisse qui kay pour prize la. Maman il m'a pour lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Maman il place me lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Maman il m'a pour lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Yo di yon ni compétition la rose, c'est qui laisse qui kay pour prize la. Yo di yon ni compétition la rose, c'est qui laisse qui kay pour prize la. Maman il m'a pour lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Château moi lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Tabouye moi lever la main en l'air, lever la main en l'air. Vive la Rose!
Vive la Rose! Very nice, very nice. And that sounds like it's a rendition specifically for calling on all the shuttles to be a part of that concert.
Thank you so much. I needed that interpretation. All I really did was lever la main.
You're very welcome, sir.
I was very present at that moment. So I got and couldn't really get through the rest. But I want to thank Oshun so much, and hopefully we can get her in studio and perhaps do something. A few of the other friends would have to have a question about that, Jurinia, for us to organize something. So we can have some really, really good fun here and give you a good solid 15 or so minutes. It will be wonderful. Nice. Thank you so much, Oshun. And thank you, Jurinia Frederick, over at the CDF.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vive la Rose! All right, we'll take another short break. When we come back, we're going to delve a little deeper into dreaded COVID-19. We must so that we can continue the sensitization And for us to be able to follow what those protocols are, make sure that we are keeping ourselves and the ones that we love and the entire nation safe. Stay with us.
Caribbean Ties, a connected people then and now. A unique exhibition that presents the diversity and complexity in the Caribbean before the arrival of the Europeans. August 1st to the 31st at the Old Anglican Annex, open daily, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Be part of the past, still present today, through stunning exhibits accompanied by live cultural street entertainment. Save the dates, August 1st to the 31st.
In an effort to ensure patient and first responder safety, the St. Lucia Fire Service has reviewed its patient transfer procedures, especially for patients with respiratory distress. Face masks will be provided. During transportation, should the face mask be removed. Please be patient and cooperative during this time to ensure you receive the best possible care while keeping our first responders safe.
And after that fun segment there with the CDF and Oshun on Laws for 2021, we are really pumped up here. But we're really on a serious note, we have to get back to COVID-19 and what St. Lucia's situation is with that. We know the neighboring islands as well, they too are facing a surge. We'll be able to talk about that more in a little bit. But first, we do have the director for the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, who was talking about vaccination in the Caribbean, and we heard from our Minister for Health, Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, and of course we've heard from the CMO as well, Dr. Sharon Belma-George, and all of the health officials, that vaccination is key for us to be able to combat, to try and mitigate what those dreaded effects of COVID-19. And remember that the effects of COVID-19, it's not only to health and our social lives, but also economically as well.
Indeed.
Because every time, the country has to scale back its operations, so too does the economy take a dreaded hit. And so for us to be able to carry on with all aspects of our lives, we need to be able to follow those protocols. The call for vaccination must be heard, and we need to be able to go out there and get ourselves vaccinated. So Dr. Carissa Etienne was speaking about that for the week.
You're very right, and I believe for her, this is specifically important within the Caribbean because she is from the island of Dominica, and so over the weekend she made an urgent call to members of the Caribbean to actually get vaccinated. She spoke the amount of vaccine hesitancy or vaccination hesitancy we have within the Caribbean region. And one of the things she alluded to is it is particularly important for us given, the strain on most of our healthcare systems. We do have a clip from Dr. Carissa Etienne making a plea to members of the Caribbean region to get vaccinated.
I want to make a special appeal to my fellow Caribbean persons. So please, we have to be extremely careful. We have limited bed capacity and limited ICU capacity in our small islands. We also, in smaller islands, we have limited expertise in terms of the number of healthcare workers, the number of respiratory therapists, the number of anesthetists. And our health systems will become overwhelmed very quickly. I don't know the sources of the information that is triggering this level of vaccine hesitancy. I can tell you that they are not scientifically proven. And I want to appeal to you to listen to the sources where you have truthful, scientifically based information and evidence.
that Dr. Etienne stated while making those statements at her weekly briefing is that people should go out and do the research. And she also alluded to the fact that the proof that the vaccines work is that 95% of the people who are badly affected, what they're seeing is that these people are unvaccinated. And I think that is something that we also heard our CMO allude to, that with the cases that are currently at our respiratory hospital, a number of those cases, or majority, if not all of those cases, are unvaccinated. So she is, of course, imploring that people out, they research, and when she says research, she did allude to the sources with factual information and that they do get vaccinated. Let's hear more from Dr. Carissa Etienne.
To be protected, you need to receive the full regimen. If it's 2 doses, you need to receive the full doses. 1 dose does not protect you. And please, the best vaccine for anyone is the one available to you. So please make use of vaccines that are available. But at the same time, please adhere to the public health measures. It is really foolhardy to not adhering to public health measures, not becoming vaccinated in a situation where capacity is limited in terms of hospital capacity. It is really foolhardy. We are playing with our lives. So my appeal to you is get up, wake up from that slumber, wake up from that dream, because we know that the vaccines are safe. They do have side effects. Those are extremely rare, and I want to assure you that we are monitoring the occurrence of those side effects. They're being monitored nationally, regionally, and globally.
Dr. Carissa Etienne also made a plea for members of the Caribbean region to follow laws that are put in place in their individual countries. To date, Lisa, we see over 1.1 million people in the Caribbean. We know that is the population. About 15%, that is about 15% of the people who have been fully vaccinated, which if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, 15% is not a large number at all. So you can understand the urgency that Dr. Etienne is exercising when making that plea to members of the Caribbean to do the research, to understand the process, to make the decisions that are best for them and their health and of course their country as a whole.
Yeah, and here in St. Lucia, so far we've had 33,702 individuals having received the first dose of the vaccine. We have 26,330 people who have received the second dose of the vaccine. That's the AstraZeneca vaccine. Now today, Monday, 16th August, health teams are administering the COVID-19 vaccine. That's the AstraZeneca vaccine. They're at the VG Sports Complex, also at the Soufrière Hospital grounds. And they started at 9 a.m. and they're there up until 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can also, if that doesn't work for you, if the VG Sports Complex and the Soufrière Hospital grounds, that doesn't work for you, you can also access the vaccines at the various wellness centers around the island. So you can call to make an appointment to get that done, or you can walk in as well to make an appointment. So at all points, you're able to access that. Now, Homer, I'm not trying to put you on the spot a little bit, but I think it's important for us to, because I have not had COVID-19, but you have had COVID-19.
Yes, very, very early.
So it's very
in the
real.
process.
It is very real for you.
It was real for me in the beginning, but I haven't gone through the process. I think I was one of the people who, in the beginning, was very cautious in terms of COVID-19. Just hearing, the stories, but I haven't gone through. For me, and it's something that people allude to COVID-19 being similar to the flu, but from my experience, and thankfully it wasn't a situation where I had to be hospitalized, but was it difficult? Because it's not a situation where you're sick and you gradually improve. for me, the experience was 1 minute, I felt like I was dying. The next I was fine. And then it took a dip again. And for me, quarantine in that time was what was scary for me. So if the fact that we do have measures to kind of, to protect yourself and to defend against it, I think it's particularly important for people to, like Dr. Carissa Etienne
So when you
says,
say that you felt you were dying, explain that to us.
it's a situation where you can't move well, for me, I had muscle pain. It was difficult to lift my head. It was difficult to keep my eyes open. It was a situation where all I could was sleep. And, I would take a nap, I would wake up, feel a little better for about 5 minutes, and then the cycle starts again. So it's a situation where, sometimes you're sick, malaria, and you're like, oh yes, it's the flu. It was something that I had never experienced before. And usually you know how to deal with it. For me, I did not know where to start or where to end in dealing with it. And it's something I had to kind of ride out, of course, with the assistance of the Ministry of Health. At the time, home quarantine was allowed. And that is what I did. But we had, I did have health experts calling in to check in and to kind of advise and help me through. But it's a difficult situation. It's something I definitely don't want to go through again.
And we don't want anyone else having to go through that, which is why the plea is there for us to be able to mitigate against COVID-19. And we know that the protocols, if you observe them and observe them correctly, they can work, because you here at work had it. We had a few other individuals who had it, but majority of staff did not contract it, and certainly not within the workplace.
And
that's important.
Us keeping surfaces clean, washing our hands on. Yeah, it really
and nobody contracted it within the work environment as well.
Yes, there wasn't workplace spread.
Right. So if you observe the protocols and you do so correctly, you can protect yourself in addition to vaccination, which of course reduces the severity of the symptoms that you would get as a result of COVID-19. Now, the time is running out. I do want to have a report from the Pan American Health Organization on what Delta, because we hear now about the Delta variant in St. Lucia. So we want to know a little bit more of what does it mean? What is that exactly? So let's go to the video with the Pan American Health Organization on the Delta variant.
Hello and welcome to Science in 5. I'm Vismita Gupta-Smith and we're talking about the Delta variant today. Our expert today is Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove. Maria, welcome. My first question to you is, explain to us, please, what we know now in July 2021 about the Delta variant.
So the Delta variant is a variant of concern that WHO is tracking and monitoring around the world. It's a variant of concern because we know it has increased transmissibility. This has been demonstrated by several countries, and we know that where the Delta variant is identified, it really rapidly takes off and spreads between people more efficiently than even the Alpha variant that was first detected around December, January 2021. As of today, the Delta variant has been reported in 96 countries, and we expect that the Delta variant will continue to spread. There are a number of factors that are contributing to increased transmission around the world. The first are these variants of concern, including the Delta variant. The second factor is that we have increased social mixing and increased social mobility, which increase context that individuals have. The third factor is the relaxation or the inappropriate of public health and social measures. Proven public and social measures that we know prevent infection, reduce the spread of somebody who is infected with the virus to others, and save lives. And the fourth factor is the uneven and inequitable distribution of vaccines. The world remains largely susceptible to infection, including any variants of concern, including Delta variant.
So Maria, different countries of the world are in different stages of this pandemic. How can we assess our risk wherever we live to protect ourselves from the Delta variant?
So this is a very important question. Knowing your risk helps you to take the measures to lower your risk every single day. There are many things that you can do yourself that can keep yourself protected and keep your loved ones protected against this virus, including the Delta variant. This includes making sure you have clean hands and wearing a mask, making sure that mask covers your nose and your mouth, and that you have clean hands when you put on your mask and off your mask. It involves avoiding crowded spaces, keeping your distance from others, making sure that if you are indoors, you are in a room that has good ventilation. And in many respects, that's as simple as opening a window or two windows so that you have good airflow. Taking all of those measures will reduce the possibility of exposure to the virus and reduce the possibility of you getting infected. In addition, when it's your turn, get vaccinated. We know that the vaccines are incredibly effective of preventing severe disease and death. And so when it is your turn, make sure that you take that opportunity and you get vaccinated and you get the full doses. If you are required to get 2 doses, make sure you go back for that second dose so that you could be fully protected against severe disease and death.
Maria, do our risks change? And also, should we change our tactics and protective measures depending on what situations we find ourselves in? For instance, we could be in a country or a city which has high vaccination, or we could be in a setting where there is low vaccination.
Too many people around the world are not yet vaccinated or who have not yet received the full vaccination course. And so people remain susceptible to infection and they remain susceptible to severe disease and death. This is why we continue to recommend to take a comprehensive approach using all that we have at our disposal to prevent ourselves from getting infected in the first place, and if we are infected, to pass the virus to others. At the present time, we recommend to continue to adhere, to reinforce adherence to all of the measures that we have, all of the tools that we have at our disposal. Follow the local guidance that's issued in your area and make sure that you take control over what you do every day and reduce your opportunities for getting infected. So remember, this is a dynamic situation and we're learning more every day about these variants of concern. So for the time being, do everything that you can to keep yourself safe and keep up with the latest information.
Thank you, Maria. That was Science in 5 today. Until next time, then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
Some information there from the American Health Organization on the Delta variant, what it is, the strategies that you can use to keep yourself safe, and of course vaccination there was the underlying theme there, Homer. Now, Lucia continues with its own measure to be able to mitigate against COVID-19. Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre on Friday met with executives of a flow along with the Minister for Health, Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, and they were discussing how best the telecommunications company can collaborate with the Ministry of Health on an extensive outreach and educational program to sensitize the public on all aspects when it comes to vaccination, COVID-19 management, and so forth. Because information
and equipping yourself with the right information.
The right information as
is
well.
Extremely important.
So we'll be able to see exactly how the telecoms company can be able to can bolster all that the Ministry of Health and complement what it has been doing already. Now, COVID-19 is not just a reality for St. Lucia, but our neighbors as well in the Caribbean.
Very true.
Facing that over in Martinique, Homer, we are seeing, those cases are through the roof, skyrocketing there, and some drastic measures have been implemented there as well. We could see that Martinique has been in a complete lockdown. They've even asked visitors to leave the island. And most importantly, because the cases are going up in Martinique, it's also going up in Guadeloupe, but France as well. And remember that they are part of France, and it's the gateway to France for us in the region. So they've announced this extreme lockdown. Residents can only go within an approximate half the rate of the homes. That's how it is over there. And these measures are coming as the island has the staggering cases. You have 1,200 cases per 100,000 residents, and the hospital overflowing with COVID patients. Right now, they are at a capacity of 227% capacity, completely over. They're hoping to see if things can, get under control within 15 days of adhering to those measures. I tell you that in Guadeloupe, there are similar restrictions. And in Guadeloupe, they've had some 9,000 new cases in the past month alone.
Wow.
Very, very staggering. Now, up north in Jamaica, they've instituted strict curfew as well. The curfew is coming to effect and is there until the end of August. It's 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. for the weeknights. It's 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. on Saturdays. And on a Sunday, it's 2 p.m. to 5 a.m. And so the Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness, is saying that if the infection rate does not improve, they would have to institute no movement days.
Wow.
No movement days.
And as strict as that seems, with the number of cases that they have, it's necessary in order to kind of limit their cases or to reduce the number of cases that they're currently experiencing.
And so just to tell you that, again, to follow the protocols, the Ministry of Health is advising that you can also go to respiratory clinics if you're feeling any signs and symptoms, and to the 5 respiratory clinics. Just to remind you, the View Wellness Center, the Soufrière Hospital, the Dennery Hospital, the Leclerc Wellness Center, and the Grosley Polyclinic. So very, very important for you to be able to know that. Just as we come to a close, or on the outside, Homer, there's a plume of Saharan dust. It's going to reduce visibility and air quality across the Lesser Antilles for the next few days. So let's be very mindful.
You're masking up.
Yep.
And being safe for that. So I guess that brings us to the end of the morning brew, Lisa.
Did you enjoy yourself?
It was fun. It's a nice way. That's a nice way to start our day, and it's a nice way for you to start your day. Let me thank you so much for joining us and being a part of the show with us. Those of you viewing on channel 122. Facebook and YouTube channel as well. Of course, you can join us Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday for the morning brew right here on the National Television Network.
And we say goodbye. We take you on with a little action.
St. Lucia's,
yes, St. Lucia's team at Carifesta. They did a little bit of that, the Vive Flowers, down there, Carifesta, in Trinidad and Tobago, as we say goodbye. Bye-bye,